are. So I do have examples of stuff from drawing courses as well as where I learned basic aesthetic. I also learned, I have two examples of 2D design and 3D design where the major focus was learning about juxtaposition of things and how to make an image more dynamic and create a flow. And that, of course, are lessons that I had to incorporate into my designing of my magazine. Because like I said before, each issue, each page, each picture on each little article has to relate to and correspond to what's going on so that it's an easy read. Because although a magazine offers a multitude of stories and images and things to relate to, at the end of the day, it has to tell a story. Each magazine has a vision. Each issue has a story to tell. And a person like a fashion director, which I will become one day, has to be able to incorporate not only the vision of the corporation, but the vision of the editor-in-chief, the vision of the photographers, being able to pick the models that are suitable for an issue, being able to pick the set, as well as have handling in the images, like what story are you trying to tell. So I did incorporate that as well. Another section to my exhibit, I included works from my graphic design class just so you can understand the techniques that I've learned in terms of advertising with bulletin boards, understanding creating a company. When I did, I created a corporate logo and creating a corporation, understanding the stationery packet, which includes letterheads, envelopes, business cards, which is your calling card to your business. Another feature that really kind of helped me and gave me practice in implementing my own magazine was editorial and it's an autobiographical pamphlet, which is outside. Those are things that Lincoln has, those are assignments that I've received here at Lincoln that have really benefited my skills and my understanding of the field and have helped me in not only designing these magazines, but helped me know that when I do go forth into the job field that I'll be able to utilize these skills in my job field. The section within the glass cases, that exhibit is actually work that I've done outside of classwork. My niche thing that kind of relaxes me is drawing. When things get stressful, I will drop everything and just go draw for a little bit. And my major influence when it comes to my to art is pop art. In caricatures and cartoons, I'm not like a Bugs Bunny drawer, but more like a comic book. Because with comic books, you have to tell a story with the least amount of pictures as possible and with the least amount of text as possible, but at the same time get across a whole dialogue. I have a couple of portraits that some of are of people that I know they're not exactly like this, but they are my understanding of how they are. And others are images that I actually found of mass-produced images, and I just reconstructed them and made them my own to put forward. I also included some ceramic work that I've done, including pots, which were influenced by Alice in Wonderland and The Wizard of Oz, and understanding, like, you know, there's kind of a calm in the crazy of the world, and that you can utilize, when you look at things that are crazy, in the back of your mind or in the back of it all, there's kind of understanding to it. So there is a concept of crazy. And I also included in that same case just a couple of smaller sculptures. I included three-dimensional elements, which involved bone core and dealing with basic shapes and how they add little touches. And I also included found objects, just because I felt like me as an artist, I try to be as eclectic as possible, but still I do have a vision of how I perceive things to be. So in my head, I always call myself like a caged artist, because I haven't even claimed the title of being an artist until recently. I just said I just wanted to draw. So I feel like this is an opportunity and this assignment, and my matriculation through Lincoln has afforded me the opportunity to finally put the title to myself as an artist. I want to open the floor to questions, comments anyone has. towards my presentation, as well as my questions about the magazine itself.
A couple of things. What struck me when I looked out in the hallway of your work was the diversity and how you were trying to use imagery to show that their beauty is all over the place, and it can look like anything you want it to look. So as it relates to what your work, I appreciate that diversity. And my comment is simply, I'd like to applaud you on being able to get through your presentation in the way that you did in a very professional manner, considering the technical distractions that you had throughout your presentation. So if you're able to do this in this environment today, we know that you're going to do just fine when you get out.
I have a couple of questions. Okay, all right. You said you had made a comment about racially ambiguous or biracial being less confrontational. How do you mean?
Okay, well,
I'm sorry, can you repeat? Because I didn't really understand.
Oh, she had made a comment about racially ambiguous or racial diversity or a mixed background being less confrontational. I just wanted that. I understood what she meant, but I just wanted to hear the explanation.
just to elaborate a little bit on it, every kind of habit that we have today is something that's built up over the years. So, yes, civil rights movement was years ago, but the changes has yet to be completely and totally abolished, per se. So, in history, when men and women of African descent, especially if they were darker in skin tone, people felt like affronted, I should say, sorry, because they felt like it was aggressive to them. I say that the reason why I identified racially ambiguous models as less aggressive, because Caucasian or the majority aesthetic is open to it, because they can kind of feel like, yeah, she can kind of represent me because she's closer to my skin tone, or I can kind of understand her story because I'm not quite sure where she came from. Whereas if they see a darker toned model, there is this connotation of where she might have come from, what she might have done. With racially ambiguous models, people kind of have the freedom to put their own story behind what she is.
Okay.
How influential or important, rather, do you feel as though diversity spread across different mediums is within society?
I think that because media is such a strong influence, like we can't wake up in the morning without seeing something that is mass produced. Diversity is kind of key. I feel like it's kind of the stepping stone to change, because unfortunately today, when you see younger kids, they are a little bit raised by mass media. So these things are, again, habits are something that's taught from youth. So if we incorporate diversity, if we incorporate unity and being able to understand different cultures from being young, and exposing them to media that allows that kind of relationship where diversity is unified and really utilized, it kind of will bring up a generation of people who will use media as mass media and understand it as a norm to see models of different colors. Not only models, but knowing that the photographers have different backgrounds, and knowing that the editors, the writers, corporations, and advertisers are all people of different backgrounds, and it kind of allows it a whole different palette of just kind of artistry. Because every person that has a hand in mass media is an artist, because while they're selling a product, they have to sell something, or sell a message. They have to sell it in a way that is pleasing to the eye, that will make you want to buy it. Just incorporating something that's diverse and making people want to buy diversity is an amazing tool that I think that some corporations have yet to establish.
Okay. Another question. That picture you showed with the Dove for Real women and then the women in the stiletto heels on top, so everyone knows, that picture on top was retouched. Those women have stomachs, so those are all completely photoshopped. Okay, just as a comment. But I just want you to address how has Caucasian or white aesthetic changed over time? For example, you showed the picture of the Botticelli-esque woman at the Venus, you know, more voluptuous looking, whereas now if we see the Caucasian aesthetic, it's like those models with the heels. I don't know, where was that from? Was that Victoria's Secret or Peta or something? Okay. How has white aesthetic changed over time? And in your understanding of it, why has it changed over time? Because it has, with relation to body type, let's say.
Well, and when it relates to body type, I feel like with the incorporation of kind of stereotypes of like Barbie is something that was created like I think it was late 1800s, early 1900s. That's really when the change kind of happened, where it went from really voluptuous women to these kind of skinnier women. I feel like in terms of today, why this kind of image is the standard of beauty, it's weird. Kind of related to the model. Her name was Twiggy, and she was like one of the first people to really come off, and she wasn't like really shapely. She had this kind of boyish look, and I think that because it was different, it was enticing. And then because it became enticing, it became popular, and became popular, it became the standard. And until something else comes along that's enticing, it doesn't change that aesthetic. Like I think what came along after, because I do feel like there is a change where it's not just these waist thin girls. From like Twiggy, I would look at a body type like Beyonce, which is her body shape is very rare, extremely rare. But because she is so popular and she marketed herself so well that she can be utilized in music, television, movies, to sell various products, a wide array of products to a wide audience. Because she had that power, I think she has the ability to change what people think the standard of beauty is, where it moves from these waist-thin models to kind of curvier figures. But that in of itself is kind of hard to attain. It's kind of unfortunate that it's not like a change that's more realistic, but it goes from one extreme to another. But maybe if the next person comes along that's not an extreme waist-thin or extreme curvy or extreme anything, but can embrace just being what was given to them from nature, like I think that would be a good step forward.
Thank you.
More questions?
I have a follow-up to that, to what she's asking. Do you think on any level that as it relates to the weight look that you're talking about that's associated typically with Caucasian or white women, do you think the change or the gradual change, because I think it's very gradual itself, has anything to do with the health issues that have been attached to this look or this desire for this thinness that is really not realistic or sustainable?
You mean like the heroin chic? They'll call it heroin chic.
Yeah.
In the fashion industry. They call it heroin chic for a reason.
I think that, yeah, like I do agree that there is some health issues when it comes to the look being waist-thin. It's very unhealthy because you're walking around with cream to support yourself because you're so thin. But it does, I feel like that did impact the change. But at the same time, like I feel like because ignorance is bliss and most people don't like to believe what they see, they just like to believe what's popular, not believe what they see, believe what they hear. They wait until it's something that they see. That's why I kind of associated that with the next person coming along to change that kind of standard. But that, honestly, that would actually contribute to that kind of metamorphosis of beauty, because it's just another reason to that this would be a good decision to me.
But it's also like the health issue is really important. It's also economical too. That stereotype of you can never be too thin or too rich. You know, a rich Caucasian woman has a certain body type. You know, so there's the economic, unfair economic stereotypes that get attached to it as well.
Well, just another thing to reference, like the whole type of way the body image is changing. Like I did bring up, one of the clips that I was going to show, and unfortunately because of technical difficulty, I couldn't. But we all seen the commercial for Booty Pop. If you do look at the commercial itself, most of the models, well, all the models in the video, in the actual commercial, are, appear to be, because we don't know what their race are, because they're not wearing a sign that says I'm this, I'm that, but all appear to be Caucasian women who are looking for the extra curve. And I think that tradition of getting that curve is something that kind of comes from, I would say, minority culture, because as minorities, I feel like we do have a kind of a cultural aesthetic where we think that we love curves. Curves are something that is associated and identified with us. When you look at actresses like Jennifer Lopez, you look like a woman like Jennifer Hudson or Beyonce, they do have these curves that people kind of glorify. And although they're not like going to get surgery to get a whole bunch of stuff put on, just even these little acts of booty pop kind of says, okay, well, this booty that what's behind that you had in the 1990s, they thought was a sign of just being overweight. Today is something that people say like, oh, I need to get one. So it kind of shows that the trend is changing. So, any more questions? All right. I want to thank you all for coming out. I truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Outside we have light refreshments. You know, it's not steak and lobster. But please feel free to just get you some chips, pizza, whatever's there available, and continue to look around the exhibit. I have up on the wall are some examples of my advertisements. I have just about all of my advertisements up, and some of my features as well. But there's some pages that are missing because it's a whole 44-page issue. But there is a book where you can flip through if you want to look through it page by page to see not only like the images up on the page, but see how the same flow is talking about how each ad goes into the next one, how each story goes into the next one, and even reading the stories because I took time to write them, so please read them. So